The air reeked of sweat and fear. A cage, that's what it felt like. A cage of iron bars and terrified whispers. We, the children, the experiments huddled together, small and scared in the vast training corral. Our bare feet dug into the cold dirt floor, seeking a comfort that didn't exist. The metallic scent of blood lingered, a stark reminder of yesterday's trials, yesterday's losses. My heart pounded a frantic rhythm against my ribs. Fear was a bitter taste on my tongue. The whispers around me died down as a heavy clang echoed through the corral. The gate master. Today was testing day. Today we fought. The ground trembled slightly, the vibration growing stronger and more intense until a sleek black spacecraft descended from the overcast sky, cutting through the clouds. It landed on the platform overlooking the corral, its presence undeniable, its dark hull gleaming even under the artificial lights, reflecting power. Power radiated from it, potent and intimidating, a force to be reckoned with. This wasn't just any transport, it was special. This was a senator's vessel, a symbol of authority. Two figures emerged, their silhouettes stark against the ship's open hatch, casting long shadows. The senator, tall and imposing, radiated an aura of command and control. Beside him stood a woman, the matriarch, a figure of power. Begin! The matriarch's voice cut through the silence, each word sharp and precise, leaving no room for doubt. The gatemaster nodded, a cruel smile spreading across his face, ready to act. The gate clanged open, and 3 hulking figures were shoved into the corral. Convicts. Their eyes, bloodshot and wild, scanned the penned-in children, settling on the smallest amongst us with predatory hunger. Their ragged clothes did little to conceal the muscles that rippled beneath, each one a testament to a life lived in violence. Panic seized me. These weren't trainers, these were monsters. I'd heard whispers about the fate of those chosen to fight the convicts. Whispers of unimaginable pain, of broken bodies left to bleed out on the cold dirt floor. The whip cracked, a sharp explosive sound that cut through the air. This was it. This was my fight. The fight was a blur of movement and pain, the air filled with the sounds of our struggle, the thud of flesh against flesh, our ragged breaths, the convicts' guttural roars. I fought with the ferocity of a cornered animal, fueled by adrenaline and fear. Every dodge, every strike was a testament to my will to survive. One convict fell, my teeth sinking into his throat, tasting blood and the metallic tang of fear. Then another. I stood over him, my hand trembling with a mixture of exhaustion and a newfound sense of power. "Finish him!" The matriarch's voice was soft, almost bored. With a final surge of strength, I delivered the killing blow. The silence that followed was deafening. They pulled me from the corral, my body a tapestry of bruises and drying blood, each mark telling a story of pain and survival. The metallic scent clung to me, a haunting reminder of the violence I had endured. It was a constant reminder of the carnage I had just participated in, a scene of chaos and destruction that seemed almost surreal. But even the rawness of my wounds couldn't dull the strange sense of detachment I felt. It was as if my mind had built a wall to protect itself. It was as if I were watching myself from a distance, a spectator to my own suffering and transformation, a detached observer of my own brutal transformation, witnessing the change without truly feeling it. They scrubbed the blood from my skin, their hands methodical and unfeeling. The water was icy cold against my battered flesh, each drop a sharp reminder of my vulnerability. They dressed me in a plain white tunic, the fabric rough and unyielding against my sensitive skin. The tunic felt like a shroud, a symbol of my new identity. And then, they led me away from the reeking stench of the corral, a place that had become synonymous with suffering. Away from the terrified whispers of the remaining children, their eyes wide with fear and uncertainty, and into the sterile antiseptic world of the laboratory. The transition was jarring. Here, everything was smooth, sterile, cold, and devoid of any warmth or humanity. It was a different kind of cage, one that imprisoned not just the body, but the spirit as well. One made of steel and wires and the cold, calculating gaze of scientists who saw us not as people, but as subjects for their experiments. The laboratory was a symphony of unsettling sounds, the whirring of machines, the low hum of electricity, the clinking of glass vials. It was a place of cold efficiency, where life and death were dissected and manipulated with detached precision. They ran tests, their touch impersonal, their voices devoid of emotion. Needles pierced my skin, drawing blood that they studied with detached fascination. Machines scanned my body, their lights flashing in rhythmic patterns that made my head spin. And then, there was her, Sidonia. She was different from the others. Her eyes, though filled with a scientist's curiosity, held a flicker of something else. Compassion, or perhaps just a detached sort of empathy. Whatever it was, it set her apart from the cold indifference of the other scientists. The pain was unlike anything I had ever experienced. It was as if my very soul was being torn apart piece by piece. It was a searing, white-hot agony that started in my skull and spread outward, engulfing me in its fiery embrace. Every nerve in my body felt like it was on fire, burning with an intensity that was almost unbearable. I screamed, the sound trapped in my throat, my body convulsing against the restraints. I wanted to die. I welcomed oblivion. The darkness seemed like a sweet release from the torment I was enduring. But through the haze of pain, I felt Sidonia's hand on mine. Her grip was firm yet gentle, a reminder that I was not alone in this suffering. Her touch was cool, grounding, a lifeline in the storm of agony raging within me. It was as if her presence alone could anchor me to reality, preventing me from slipping into the abyss. She whispered words of comfort, words I couldn't understand but somehow, on some primal level, seemed to ease the burning. Her voice was a soothing balm, a gentle lullaby in the midst of chaos. The pain receded slowly, leaving in its wake a strange emptiness. It was a void that felt both alien and familiar, a hollow space where something vital had once been. My body felt hollowed out, as if something had been taken from me and replaced with something else, something foreign, something that didn't belong, something cold and sharp and utterly devoid of emotion. It was a chilling sensation, a stark contrast to the fiery pain that had consumed me moments before. As the fog in my mind began to clear, I saw a single tear roll down Sidonia's cheek. It was a tear that spoke volumes, a silent testament to the bond we shared. It was the first time I had ever seen her cry. Her tears were a rare and precious sight, a glimpse into the depths of her emotions. And in that moment, something shifted within me. It was a profound change, a realization that I was not as alone as I had thought. A spark of something new ignited in the ashes of my pain. It was a spark of loyalty, a newfound determination to endure, not just for myself, but for Sidonia as well. The lab became my new cage, but it was a cage I no longer feared. Gone were the terrors of the corral, the constant threat of violence. Here there was order, purpose. There were no more brutal tests, no more fights to the death. There were only training simulations, holographic projections that flickered to life at my command. They honed my skills, turning me into a weapon of precision and lethal grace. I moved with an efficiency that bordered on artistry, my body a perfectly calibrated instrument of destruction. They called me Subject 12, a designation, not a name, but Sidonia, she called me Nemesis. "You are the inevitable consequence," she explained, her voice soft as she adjusted the electrodes on my temples. They fitted me for armor, the sleek black material molding to my body like a second skin. It was cold, hard, a physical manifestation of the transformation I had undergone. It was a symbol of my purpose, a constant reminder of the weight I now carried. The first time they led me out of the lab, I felt a strange mix of apprehension and exhilaration. The world outside was a chaotic symphony of sights and sounds. The bustling crowds, the towering buildings, the constant hum of activity. It was overwhelming, intoxicating. They took me to a secure facility, a place where they housed political prisoners, enemies of the state. My mission was simple: eliminate the target. There was no hesitation, no fear. I moved with the cold precision of a machine, my body a weapon honed to a razor's edge. I returned to the lab, the metallic scent of blood clinging to me like a shroud. The air was thick with the remnants of my actions, a haunting reminder of what I had become. They debriefed me, their voices filled with detached satisfaction. I had performed flawlessly, exceeding their expectations in every possible way. I was everything they had hoped for, more. a perfect creation, a flawless executioner. But as I stood before them, the weight of what I had done settled upon me like a physical burden. It was as if the walls themselves were closing in, suffocating me with the gravity of my actions. I had taken a life that could never be returned, a soul forever lost because of me. Not in the frenzied chaos of the corral, but with cold, calculated precision. Was this my purpose? To be a weapon, devoid of humanity? To be a weapon, an instrument of death? Sidonia sensed my turmoil. She saw through the armor into the heart of my conflict. She dismissed the others, her gaze meeting mine with a depth of understanding that surprised me. It was as if she could see the very essence of my soul. "It is a heavy burden," she acknowledged, her voice soft. Her words were like a gentle caress, soothing the storm within me. "But you are not alone." Her eyes conveyed a promise, a commitment to stand by me no matter what. "I am with you, always." Her touch was a lifeline, pulling me back from the abyss of despair. Her words were a balm to my troubled soul. They gave me hope, a reason to believe in something greater than myself. In that moment, I knew that I would do anything to protect her. She was my anchor, my reason to fight, and I would not let her down.